back, Texas Platinum. It is OU week. Not as exciting as usual because on schedule, Tom Herman and Texas drop one at TCU just to kind of take the wind out the sails of what looked to be an exciting game. And OU is also sputtering. But we're going to get into OU here at the end of the video or midway through. We'll put the timestamps in. But first of all, we need to ask you to subscribe. We've gotten like 40 subscribers over the last month, which is really good for us. I know that's probably nothing compared to some of these big channels, but I mean, we're inching away at 1,000. So if you watch some of our videos, just subscribe. That'd be awesome. So yeah, I mean, we're going to break down a TCU game here for about 10, 15 minutes because there's just so much things to say about that whole game. It was a spectacle of what Tom Herman is and what we've been the past 10 years. So we got to break all that down. And so without further ado, we can just hop right into it. Matt, Madrid, what were your thoughts just the first quarter of the TCU game?
Okay. Watching the game and my first initial thoughts when the first quarter and the first half mainly was, I don't know. I keep telling myself that like, hey, like no matter the refs, like you got to be disciplined and you got to come out strong, and whatever they're doing, you got to make sure you're doing your thing right. But man, I forget what they said, but like the refs were like on a standby group or something. Like what were they again? They weren't like full time, or what were they? What was
They were grouped together by location. So
yeah, right.
that they all lived around Central Texas, and they haven't ever. I think this was their first game together. So there wasn't, because with refs it's kind of like a team where it's like there's camaraderie and one typically takes the lead, and it was clearly a mess.
Exactly. So there was no continuity between these refs, and I'm not. So that really pissed me off beforehand. But I also think that you just gotta be more disciplined, and I just don't like that this trend that seems. I mean, it's 4 years with Herman. Like there's trends already. It's just like against these teams that on paper you should be, and on paper you have the better athletes, and I feel like I'm having the same conversation, the same spiel like every year. It's unacceptable. Like you just flat out work like false starts. Come on, man. That's all discipline, O-line stuff. Like I don't know. You got to get your players up to play games like this. There's no reason for Gabe Patterson to just own us the last 5 years like this. Yeah, just angry but not surprised because I feel like I've seen this movie 1,000 times. That's my initial thoughts.
What about you, Trevor?
Yeah, I mean, definitely very frustrating, especially at the beginning of the game, just because, I mean, we were kind of holding TCU back, so we definitely could have been putting up points and getting a lead and making it harder for us to, have to dig out of a hole like we've had to do against Tech and TCU. Yeah, I mean, the penalties obviously were the were the clear things. Joe Klatt and Gus Johnson kept commenting on, how many flags there were, and there definitely were a lot. Some were bad. I mean, that holding call where they were holding back, who was it?
The one they called back? Or?
Yeah, the touchdown that they called back, that first touchdown for TCU.
Yeah, DeMarvion Overshown.
Yes, it was Overshown that was being held up. Yeah, that was ridiculous that they called it and then they picked up the damn flag. I haven't seen that since, like, the Cowboys played the Lions in that playoff game, like, a long time ago. So very bizarre on that end. But at the same time, we were sloppy. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that, hey, this is, a repeat of the Oklahoma State game from a few years back when Charlie Strong was coaching and the refs were clearly making very errant calls. There were definitely a few bad calls, but a lot of these calls were justified. And it's very disappointing to see a team that is so sloppy and just slow starting too. I mean, Sam had a very weird game in that he put up somewhat good numbers, but his completion percentage was like in the 40s. Part of that's on him. I think he could have played a much better game. but I think a large part of it is these receivers are so inconsistent and just need to catch the damn ball. I mean, Jake Smith looks great out there. Dude's got all the speed in the world. He can run pretty good routes, but he can't catch consistently, and it's so frustrating to see that. Tariq Black, again, was kind of a no-name. Joshua, to be corrected by his mother on Twitter. I don't know if he even caught a ball this game. Granted, I think he got kind of hurt, but I mean,
No,
I thought he was our wide receiver 1, and dude ain't even showing up. Eagles looked good, but again, dropped a lot of key balls. I mean, we're at a point now where, yeah, I think in order for us to win, Sam needs to ball out every game, but at the same time, he can't ball out if his receivers can't catch. And yeah, so all that being said, it was definitely a very frustrating first quarter and whole game for that matter, because I felt like it was much of the same in that regard.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on receivers. I do not like the state of our receiver room at all. I am not a fan of our receiver room. Jake Smith, yeah, like you said, that one he had multiple drops, I think, but the one drop where he had that literally that drag route
Touchdown.
that been there all
into
night.
the house there, man. Like,
that was his
so
chance to show his Jaden Waddle speed, and he dropped it. There was nobody near him. He had a straight line of the end zone. He's about to just show off his 4.3, 4.2, whatever it is, speed, and he drops it, and that just was so deflating. And then just the whole room, like we had Kai Money and Brendan Schooler playing a lot. I mean, Kai Money was out. I think he was blocking for like a screenplay at a certain point in the game, which is just ridiculous.
You don't have that guy block.
Yeah, don't let him block. And then, I mean, shout out to Malcolm Epps. I mean, we were hating on him forever,
Yes.
but he might be like our best receiver, like just based on the sample size that we've seen this season. He's been reliable and made huge plays for us. That one touchdown he had down the stretch, that was clutch. That was a tight window, a good defense, and he came down with it. And I didn't even think Sam should have thrown that ball, but he threaded the needle, and Epps did it. Epps caught it, and that's his third game in a row where he's made a play. So I think you look at starting Epps this weekend if you can. I mean, just reward him. He's doing well right now. Play him till he starts sucking, then pull him. So
yeah, I'd move him back to the outside, and I want to see Wiley. Wiley had a good game. This was by far his best game. Kind of a coming out party. I was like 3rd and 25, and he got a first down off of like some slant or something that was just to get him in better punting position, and ran with it. Yeah, Cade Burr has been a bit of a disappointment, I think. So love to see Wiley. He definitely has better upside, being that he's a giant and can catch, and apparently can run.
Yeah, he's not the fastest, but man, I mean, he doesn't need to be fast at his size, 6'7". He just, like, as long as he can high point the ball and catch it like he's been doing, I mean, that's all you need. And I like him as a blocker too. So yeah, he definitely needs to be starting over Cade Brewer at this point. I know Brewer was really good as a freshman, but I think the ACL, and whenever he tore his ACL, I think that's kind of just stunted his growth, and he just hasn't really recovered fully. So yeah, I think you got to roll with Wiley from here on out, and just, I mean, he might make a bad play or two, but I think Wiley is definitely the better option. What'd y'all think about the defense? I thought Chris Ash had a good game plan, and he had the players tackling a lot better, but there were just some times where it was really bad. And I know y'all are about to bring it up. Matt, what were your thoughts on just the defense? I mean, bending but not breaking, but still.
I mean, I think we did a good job in the first half more than the second half. There's gonna be better offenses to come, and the way I saw like, and better like rushers too. The way I saw it's just, I'm gonna look it up real quick. Like close to 200 yards rushing amongst a bunch of players, but still, like, making teams just look like they can cut through us like butter. Like, I just don't understand why, even with this good scheme, why we have such problems with tackling. In my heat of my whole rant, I don't know if you guys saw that on Twitter, but I didn't tweet it, but I wanted to say stuff about the defense. After the game, I was thinking like, how much can you blame this on like COVID and practice times and stuff like that, and not being able to actually tackle and have practices that you can tackle in. And I just don't know how much of an excuse you get there, man. Again, I think this is just who we are. 3 games in, we're gonna have a defense that looks good on paper, but it's not actually put together well on the field. So I'm really down on the defense. And probably will be for the rest of the season.
Well, Trevor, well, I mean, I know you're going to bring it up. The Max Duggan touchdown run to take the lead.
Yeah, that was to me at least, that was a defining moment of the game, because I felt like an announcer at that point, because I was watching with friends, and probably 10 seconds before the ball is snapped, I'm looking at our formation. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, why is no one in the middle of the field? Why is no one? And then they show the camera angle that shows Duggan's POV of literally everyone's on the outside. And I'm like, someone's got to move to the middle of the field, or this. I was like, guaranteed first down right here. Duggan's going to take it right up the middle, and it was more than a first down. It was a touchdown. That can't happen. I guess that maybe could make sense in some world where you're just really trying to rush the quarterback from the outside and get to him. But I mean, I feel like I've seen this so many times where we do that and leave the middle of the field wide open. So that was bad, obviously. It was nice to see Osai flash. He definitely did in this game, as well as our D-line as well. I think Graham was making a few moves. Coburn looked good. Our D-line in general wasn't bad, which was definitely good to see. But man, our secondary, it's all bark and no bite at this point. Like I thought that these guys were so much better than they are, and they just aren't making plays. They play too soft. I think they need to press a lot more, and I don't know. They can't tackle all that great. Obviously, our linebackers are suffering. Our depth is continuing to dwindle as we speak. Delhi is going to be out for the game. Thankfully, Mitchell got ejected in the first half, or we'd be screwed against OU, because that guy needs to show up against, in this game. Yeah, just defense isn't – yeah, bend don't break is definitely the model of our defense this year, and just really probably what I'm most disappointed in is our secondary. Just nothing has changed from last season in regards to them. So I'd love to see more, not even senior, but just upperclassmen leadership. I mean, Caden Stearns is a captain. He hasn't. I mean, maybe he's shown it from a leadership perspective that we haven't seen, but on the TV screen, I'm not seeing it. Whatever happened to Josh Thompson after that great UTEP game? I thought he was going to flash.
Yeah, me too.
The rest of the season, he hasn't. He's looked horrible, actually. Yeah, other guys. Chris Brown needs to. Again, I guess he's a good leader, but he's not. All these guys. I mean, anyone else thoughts? Like this is ridiculous.
It looked like the secondary peaked in Caden's freshman year.
Yeah.
It looks like that was their best year, BJ included, and
yeah, BJ looks like nobody
can wrap up, and it just we have a few guys that look like they can do something on the team. And God bless Osai, because it looks like it's just him versus the world out there. But yeah, I just don't know what to say in regards to the defense anymore, because I think their story is written already for this season.
Yeah, we need to definitely get, like Urban Meyer suggested, a sports psychologist, because our players are coached up. I know they're coached up, our secondary, to turn their head when they're running stride for stride with the receiver as the ball's coming in on them, like on deep balls. And it's been like 10 years now, and we still can't turn our heads. We face guard, throw the flag, or get mossed. It's really, really hard to watch on those deep balls. We saw Quentin Johnston moss, was it Josh Thompson, which is just – that was just so pure, just on brand. And then, I mean, I'm ragging on the defense, but I thought it was a good game plan. There weren't really any huge breakdowns. Like, we haven't seen that many open receivers just running free, which is good. We used to have those sometimes last year with Todd Orlando. And I thought we cleaned up the tackling pretty well. There were still some times, like there was a time when Chris Brown was chasing Max Duggan and he was like within arm's reach and he didn't even do anything. It was really embarrassing. And then he just like fell over and said he was hurt after the play, but I don't even think he was hurt. I think he was just, I don't know what he was doing. But, I mean, I thought we played well enough to win on defense. We forced that turnover. We got the ball within the 40-yard line, got 0 points because our offense, what was it, a flag or I don't know. Yeah, wasn't that Alvonte Woodard flag when we had somebody downfield? Which killed the drive, and that happened many times.
Killing drives, man.
But we held them to field goals more often than touchdowns. It felt like, and we definitely gave our offense chances to go take the game. And it wasn't even really TCU shutting us down too much. It was usually we would get plays going, and then it would be a horrible flag, like holding or something like receiver downfield. And then it just sets us behind the sticks and the drive would be ruined. So, I mean, our defense wasn't great, but, I mean, I'll take that performance against, TCU is not that prolific on offense, but still, I expect to win with that defense. I mean, we can't play complementary football, it looks like, and the offense didn't pull their weight as much as they should have.
I mean, you're right. They did play well enough for us to be in it. And if you think about it, if that first quarter and a half doesn't happen to how sloppy we are, we're probably not talking about that. You know what I mean? We're probably not talking about a loss like this or how, like, taking, like, silver lining. We're saying how well the defense played and how that helped us win. There's serious I don't know if we've touched on it a lot on this channel, but there's serious development issues going on here because we got the players, we got the recruits, but it seems like they never actually get better while we're here, or I shouldn't say that, consistent. And I think that comes down to coaching, personally. So
yeah. Caden Stearns, he's gotten worse, or at least the same since his freshman, and he needs to put on weight. People say he's an NFL declare like candidate to declare early. There's no way. He gets hurt every play, every game. He's always limping around. And that's our whole team is just very prone to being like stingers or whatever, just limping around. I do not like what Yancey's doing to our team. You got to blame it on Yancey, I guess, because there was so many players down and slow to get up and like wobbling around, and they were all wearing burnt orange Saturday. TCU looked faster than us. I mean, Keontae Ingram got embarrassed. He got ran down like a little kid against like a cheetah. It was like a little deer against a cheetah when he had that like 20-yard lead on him, and that ended up costing us. And I just feel like we're talented based on high school rankings, but when I see us up against TCU and Baylor, I don't see like super athletic plays and just physical and bigger. I just don't. I mean, maybe we're bigger, but I just don't see like the talent. Like when you watch Bama play and you watch Ohio State and Clemson, you see NFL players. Yeah. Our players are still like in high school mode, I guess. They don't develop, and that's what it comes down to. And then at that point, TCU has more talent than us because they're all developed, I guess, and coached up and more disciplined. So, I mean, we have more talent based on high school rankings, but I mean, TCU looked like they had a little more athletes than us. Like Quentin Johnston would have been starting for us right now, I feel like. So, it's very frustrating.
Yeah, we're 4 years in, man. It's time to call things out. Like, this is what they are. Like, I don't know how much time you get or excuses. Hell, his first recruiting class is they're juniors now. Like, they're supposed to be popping right now, and they're not popping. So, Sam was a Charlie guy, so like it's not like you can take it credit for that one either. So like it's just it's time. Criticizing is very very appropriate now. It's 4 years.
Speaking of Sam, I talked about him briefly, but I'm curious what y'all's perspective is on the game that he had against TCU.
I thought Sam played great. I mean, it wasn't his best game, but he was playing against a really well-coached defense with the receivers not helping him out at all. There were no receivers making plays for him. It was kind of him having to really make things happen. And he didn't take any sacks. He had a good pocket presence, I thought. There were some times he could have ran with the ball, which would have helped. I thought maybe running him a little bit more and sliding, of course. But, yeah, I mean, the interception he threw was suspect. He probably shouldn't have thrown that ball. I know it was miscommunication, but that's still like that. Even if Moore was running a different route, like that's still he's throwing it right at the DB. So that's still a tough play to make. But I mean, Sam did what Sam does. 4 touchdowns. He led us down the field for the game-winning drive, like he always does, and then we fumbled on the 1-yard line with Keontae. And I mean, I trusted Sam down the stretch to win us that game, but we fumbled, and then the defense couldn't get the stop. So, I mean, Sam did what Sam was. I would grade Sam as a B+. I mean, it wasn't his best game, but yeah, I thought he was good enough.
Yeah, I agree. Sam's the one constant you can rely on. The one thing they're basically our whole engine of the offense. So yeah, I echo everything you say. And just to I talk about like that last sequence, it just felt very, very Texas-ish. Just we ran all the way. It looks like we're coming back, doing what we're doing. Keontae's a little faster, whatever. I just don't understand why he's sticking that ball out. We got 4 downs to get in. I don't know. I love the kid, but come on, just gotta know the context of the game and what down it is and stuff like that. But yeah, that was just very disappointing saying that.
Poor dude is plagued with mistakes.
I saw that and I was like, oh yeah, that just makes sense.
So he'll be blamed for this game. Even though there were so many other things that
exactly.
I mean, we touched on him the very last. It wasn't the first thing that came out of the gate. I'm surprised we even mentioned it, honestly. But yeah, him and
put in that situation, but still,
yeah, him in this game, him in LSU. You know, I feel bad for the guy, even though all those were definitely on him. But.
Yeah, and it takes away from because he had a good game. He was our best running back. He's making plays. So it's just and ultimately it wasn't the only reason we lost, but it was definitely a reason that we're done at the 2-minute mark. I mean, people say that's not the reason we lost, but I mean, yeah, it kind of was the reason we lost. I mean, a big part of it. So I mean, I don't want to bench Keontae or anything like that. Just let him keep playing. He usually doesn't fumble like that. Like that was one of his first fumbles I can remember. But it was just very bonehead, and we need to definitely coach our players up better. And, but I mean, Roshan was hurt. So, I mean, I get running Keontae, but, yeah, you just can't make that bonehead play. So, one last comment I want to make on TCU, and then I'll let y'all say y'all's last comments. But Ryan Bujewski, our punter, is just very I'm going to put it nicely. He's just not a football player. He's an Aussie, and he just thinks in terms of just kicking the ball, which I mean that's what punters are supposed to do. But we had the ball up by 3, whatever it was, with 5 minutes left, whatever it was, and we were punting because our offense couldn't get a drive going. And he was doing that rugby punt, and it was 4th and 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was just running out. There was nobody there. There was one defender, and he was being blocked, and he had a convoy of other Longhorns with him. He could have just cut to the left and picked up a 30-yard gain and probably sealed the game for us. But he's just ooh, I got to punt the ball, even though the first we need players with I mean, he's a punter. You can't ask too much of him, but I mean, Boulware's got to coach him up to man, if you're doing a rugby punt, there's a lot of opportunities to just run and pick up first downs. And that's one thing I've always said. There's a lot of times you're watching just rugby punts, and the punter could just run, it looks like, and go get a first down. And we definitely need to and that one was really, really glaring. So, Definitely need to coach a lot better.
I blame that on the coaching staff though, because in Tom Herman's press conference, I think he was the one actually right after the game. He someone asked about that and said, "Hey, what's y'all's protocol in regards to having the punter ever run?" And Tom Herman, of course, is like, "Well, we only let the punter run if we tell him you have the option to do so." So on that play, they didn't tell him that he had the option to do so. So the coaches are like, "Don't run," which is ridiculous. So honestly, I put that on coaching because he did. It looked like he definitely considered it, and then he was probably like, "Well, if I don't get this, like, I'm screwed," basically. So, man, put that on coaching, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But either way, Buszewski needs to step it up. He's been really inconsistent. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely blame that on coaching. I agree. Any last thoughts, Madrid, on the debacle?
Nah, man, I've said my piece. I've made peace with it. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah,
Same old.
I hate playing TCU. That's my final word is TCU. I don't care how bad TCU is, and I don't care how good we are. Whenever we play TCU, stuff happens, and typically not good stuff. So, looking forward for this game, this coming game, where we play an opponent that we actually get up for, and not one that we play down to year after year after year after year after year after year. So,
right.
Agreed.
And last thing I'm going to say is thinking about the game. It's like watching a drunk. Like we look like we're drunk out there. Like we're just sputtering. We can't stop tripping over our own selves. And if we were playing clean football, we could be such a good team. Like you see it. Like it took us sputtering like crazy and so many just horrible mistakes for TCU to stay in that game and take control down the stretch with Patterson coaching his butt off. Like, we could be so good, and you see it, but we are so undisciplined, and it's very frustrating. So yeah, I mean, we'll end it there. All right, now we're moving on to Oklahoma, which is always exciting. It's OU weekend, not your typical OU weekend, but nevertheless, still going to be super intense. So OU comes in unranked for the first time since 2016, which is crazy, and they're favored though by 2.5. And they're coming in at 1-2, 0-2 in conference play, with a chance to go 0-3 in conference play since the first time since I don't even know when. I've never seen OU.
The 90s.
Yeah, 2005 they were pretty bad, but I don't think they were 0-3 in the Big 12 bad. So, yeah, I mean, you got Spencer Rattler versus Sam Mellinger, and that's gonna be really fun to watch because OU claims Sam Mellinger's horrible and Rattler's a robot. So, yeah. Trevor, take it away, man. Start off with Sam versus Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, I mean, in many regards, I feel like this is almost the key to the game. It'll definitely be fun to see two prolific quarterbacks, even though Oklahoma and the boys up north. I think that Sam Ellinger actually should be benched for Casey Thompson, who apparently is a much better thrower than Sam is. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, just to cut to the chase, I think whoever turns it over first, whoever flinches, loses this battle for these two. Sam has I think he's played OU. This is going to be his 5th time because he played him once in the Big 12 championship. He's only thrown 1 interception in all 4 of those games. And it was if y'all remember from the Big 12 championship, it was basically it wasn't a Hail Mary, but it was essentially at the end of the game ball that he tried to, throw a big pass up to LJ Humphrey, and the OU defender, jumped the route and picked him off. So he hasn't turned the ball over, in basically all of his times playing OU, at least in the Cotton Bowl. And that's what I think has allowed us to be close. I mean, he's only won 1 game against OU, unfortunately, but we've always been close. And I think a big part of it is, his decision-making. Spencer Rattler, on the other hand, has definitely been plagued with turnovers. That's all just getting into a new system, freshman coming into college. And also just OU has the team around him hasn't been helping him out a ton, I don't think. The O-line definitely is looking like the worst it's been in a very long time. They definitely haven't. A lot of young guys, a lot of new guys. They seem to be in a bit of disarray. The running game definitely isn't as good as it once was, which I think is a big reason as to why Spencer Rattler is having to do so much right now. And yeah, so he's definitely making a lot more mistakes. And at the end of the day, if these mistakes continue, I definitely think Texas has, on that alone, has a very good shot to win this game. But if Rattler balls out, like he very well can, and starts throwing ball, dimes everywhere, which he definitely can do and has shown to do it, even though he's made a few turnovers. If he can eliminate the turnovers in this game and Sam has one fumble or one pick, that can be it. So I think that is the major key to the game, is what quarterback protects the ball the best and makes the best decisions at the end of the day. What do you think, Madrid?
All right. We were first talking about this off recording. I was a little down and out, but I was thinking about right as you were talking. Like, I'm very confident. I'm very confident going into this game. Like, I'm thinking about it now. Spencer Rattler is gonna turn over the ball. Like, the guy's a freshman. He's never been in a game like this before. He's 0-2 in conference play. Good defenses have gotten to him and shaken him. I don't think he's going to be this solid, cold thrower that's making all these throws down the field. He'll make throws. Don't get me wrong. He's talented as hell. But he's not on Sam's level yet. If they're gonna duel each other, if that's gonna be this type of game with two bad defenses going at it, I'll take Sam. I'll take the senior that's played in 5 of these games like this. And yeah, OU's having I don't say rebuild, but a recovery year. They were due for a little bit of a regression, and this is the regression. The receivers are decent. I think my favorite is Rambo. He has the most time there, I think. But yeah, it's a 2.5 spread, so favoring OU. The spreads for our games have always been wrong, so I expect this one to be wrong as well. Other than that, I'm very confident in our prospects in this game. It just seems like he's just setting up for an OU down year, and us at least competing at the top to get to the championship. So yeah, that's my initial thoughts.
Yeah, you touched on OU's receivers a little bit. I think that's one of the main reasons, that and their O-line, that they have kind of fallen off a cliff this year. I kind of like the running backs, even though there's no like Trey Sermon or Joe Mixon or anybody like that. I kind of like Seth McGowan and TJ Pledger. I think they got potential. But, I think what it comes down to is OU doesn't have that rainmaker receiver like they usually do with CeeDee Lamb, Hollywood Brown, D.D. Westbrook, Sterling Shepard. All these just like elite talent guys that tore everybody up. They don't have anybody stepping up like that. I mean, they got guys that can, like Theo Weiss and Hazelwood, but he's injured.
They have guys that make a play.
Yeah, Marvin Mims looks good as a freshman, but they don't have like just CeeDee Lamb, like just terrorizing us constantly over and over again throughout the game. They do have Austin Stogner, though, at tight end, who I think is probably one of the biggest threats that we're going to have to deal with. He's just a big dude. He played at Prestonwood in Taps. Shout out. But, yeah, I mean, he's a tough – OU always has great tight ends, Mark Andrews, Calcaterra, Jermaine Gresham. And Stogner's the next one up. And he's looked great from what I've seen this season. I think Rattler needs to target him more, and I think he can do that against us, especially over the middle of the field. But, yeah, other than Stogner, this is not the talented OU offense that – at least not the experience that they could become really good one day. But their O-line's young.
Raw, man. Yeah.
Yeah, they got players, and they're going to be good. I just think Texas right now is in better shape to win this game, especially with Herman needing this game more than Lincoln Riley, I think. So I kind of like how favors in terms of our defense versus their offense and our offense versus their offense, just matching them up just on paper. But I mean, what it's going to come down to, I think, is just the defensive battle, because these are two really bad defenses that have just cannot tackle in space very well, and we've seen that like the first 3 weeks of the season. It's just kind of embarrassing. So I think whoever can have a better day tackling will also really just kind of just take control of the game early. So I think defensively that's what it might start off with, but there's so much more to get into on the defensive side. What do you got, Trevor, about OU's defense?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that they've shown us in these past 2 weeks is they're definitely prone to the big play. Problem is Texas hasn't. I mean, I guess against Tech we had some big plays, but definitely did not see that against TCU. And then I also think that they strike me, at least their secondary, as one that can be pushed around. Maybe I'm wrong with that assessment, but I think maybe instead of us trying to outspeed them with like Jake Smith and Whittington, which we definitely should have those guys playing. Like they're some of our biggest weapons. But I'd like to see us play tall ball with them. So see Wiley get touches after last week where he looked really good. I want to see Epps out on the field. I want to see Eagles get more targets and hopefully make more plays more consistently. Because I do think that Iowa State did that so well last week. Their defense really didn't have an answer for some of their bigger receivers for the Cyclones. So I think that's kind of our key from our offense attacking their defense. In terms of our defense, again, I think we need to take advantage of their O-line that's struggling right now and really put a lot of pressure on Rattler via our D-line, because our linebackers probably aren't going to do that. I mean, Mitchell might make some plays out in the open field, but I don't know if the linebackers are really going to get much pressure. So getting pressure on him, and then also just our secondary needs to be alert, because Rattler might throw a pick and might do something a little bit errant. So be on their A game. And I think they should press a little bit more. I mean, I said that in the TCU part, but I don't want to see a ton of soft coverage, because that Rattler will pick that apart. Even though he's definitely turnover prone, he's not dumb either. He will take advantage of a wide open receiver. So
Yeah. I'm going back to OU's defense. I think their D-line, the big question mark right now is Ronnie Perkins going to play, because that's probably their best player maybe on the entire team, defensive end Ronnie Perkins. He sacked Sam like so many times last year. So there's a lot of speculation out there if he's going to play or not. If he does play, that could really help them in the run game and getting a pass rush. But I think what we need to do against their defense is really just run those drag routes all day long, make these DBs of theirs and linebackers tackle in space, because they looked horrible in space against Iowa State, like Trevor was saying. And just those screens, sweeps, like outside runs, just get our players in space and force them to make open field tackles one-on-one, isolate receivers, all that good stuff, because, I mean, they're like us. They're kind of like can't stop tripping over themselves on defense. So definitely need to attack that, and I think that's probably the most important thing to attack. But our defense going up against OU's offense, it's going to be tough for our defense. I know OU's not as potent as they usually are, but still, man, like we had all we could handle with Max Duggan, and
we were taking it all, man.
And Rattler's going to definitely I saw him against Iowa State. I didn't think he was much of a runner, but he looked pretty elusive against Iowa State. He might not break off long runs, but he's definitely going to extend plays and pick up first downs when he needs to, and like just kind of be a backbreaker when you cover downfield. He'll definitely get that first down. So definitely you got to make sure Rattler doesn't kill you on the ground with just a bunch of just like first down after first downs. But yeah, man, I don't know what to even say about our secondary. I know what's going to happen. Like I can't see us doing anything well. I mean, we just got to force turnovers when we can.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be opportunities for interceptions. I mean, we're pretty good at forcing interceptions despite how bad we are in the back end anyways. And just really just I don't know if you want to blitz a lot against their O-line. that'll be kind of a trial and error. I think Chris Ash will do in the first quarter, kind of just feel him out. But yeah, I really don't know what to expect. I could see our defense coming out and playing really well and tackling and being physical and really stifling OU. I could also see us giving up 56 points. So that's the biggest question mark for me in this game is how's our defense going to look.
Yeah, this whole game is a question mark, I think.
Hey, but apparently we had a really good week of practice, though. So, things looking at what Tom Herman said. One of the best Sundays.
Best Sunday he's seen since he's been here.
Oh, wow, man.
He also said that the practice with the week before TCU was also really good. So you should take that with a grain of salt.
We look great.
Yeah. But I mean, Overshown's been tweeting a lot these past few days about how he loves the team and watch out and we're coming and stuff. Like this guy's really confident and definitely be nice to see.
We didn't mean all that. Season starts now. Whatever.
Right.
I mean, I'll believe it when I'll see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is the type of game that Tom Herman wins, and I could just see us like winning this game and winning it maybe.
He's underdog.
Yeah, underdog and against a rival, but I'm not gonna bless Tom Herman and hype him up after this win because he's expected to like start off 3-1, and it doesn't matter even if we do beat OU, which I expect us to do. I think we're a better team, and I think we'll be ready for this game. It doesn't matter because we're going to go up play Baylor in a couple weeks, Oklahoma State, and that's what Tom Herman is. That's where he loses over and over again, has us unprepared. So watch us come out flying around, playing great defense, like disciplined football, and then it's just going to be so infuriating because I don't trust this team to like maintain that, and I know we'll slip up somewhere down the road. So, I mean, I trust us to win this game, but I really want to see us just get some consistency going, and we haven't seen that at all yet. So that's kind of like killing my excitement a little bit.
The wild card that you've just seen this play out. You've seen this play out before.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor, what you got, sir? Are we going to go into predictions? You got any more thoughts on the Sooners? I mean, I don't think I touched too much on the personnel, but I mean, you know all their names, you know who they are.
Yeah. No, I think we kind of covered all the main things. Turnovers, in this game are always huge. I mean, I guess I already touched on that in terms of Rattler and Sam, but all around, turnovers typically are the big game changers in this game. Special teams are going to be huge. Our special teams have not been playing great. It'd be nice to see them actually start making plays. Maybe Jameson finally gets, a big return on a punt or a kickoff. Maybe Buchevsky starts punting more consistently. I mean, it's a whole bunch of things. And I don't know too much about OU's special teams at the moment, but I mean, Dicker, he got famous off of this game, and he was definitely a spark in the last game as well, where he made a very big kick going into halftime. So we'll need him definitely to be ready.
Yeah.
But outside of those things, it'll be interesting seeing what this game is like from an atmosphere standpoint. I still understand that it'll be split 50-50. Obviously not quite filled to the capacity that it typically is. But I'm sure it'll still be loud. And, I mean, that stadium seems to trap noise pretty well. And I think the energy will still kind of be there, even though the state fair isn't going to be going on in the background. So I'm very curious to see. Believe it or not, this is going to be my first Texas OU game that I've watched not at the stadium.
Wow. Because
I didn't start watching this game until a year before I went to UT. And that year I happened to get tickets. So, and I've always been fortunately to be able to go. So this will be a very new experience for me, watching it on TV, plus the pandemic, making the atmosphere a bit different.
Yeah, man.
nonetheless, I'm always excited. This is one of my favorite weekends of the year, and much like the Oklahoma fans, I'm sure they love it too. One of the best rivalries in college football.
Agreed.
It is the best rivalry, but this year it's kind of meh. So I mean, it'll be a great game though. I think once it kicks off, all the juices will be going, and it'll feel just like a normal one. So yeah, man, we can go into predictions right now. I think we got it all covered, and I'll go first. Honestly, I have us winning by 10 points. I have us winning 52-42 in a shootout because I think, like I said, this is the type of game that we come out for and play a great ball and just dominate the trenches. O line plays well, D line plays well. Sam does what he does, and I think there's a lot of. I think OU's just a worse team than us slightly right now, and I think we show up more for this game than they do. And like Spencer Rattler, I don't trust him at all yet. He's going to be great, but he's shown a lot of freshman tendencies, right? Like through the first 3 weeks. So yeah, I got us winning 52-42, high scoring game. But I'm not saying we're a good team or anything. I'm just saying this is the type of game we win, and then we'll judge after Baylor and Oklahoma State where we're at.
Trevor, you go.
Actually, Madrid, are you cool going first?
Okay.
Or were you waiting on my prediction?
Yeah, I was waiting on yours, but okay, I'll go. Oh, I feel it. Okay. Yeah. I think we win. I think we win 45-38. We looked bad, but at least we looked bad, but we have experience and have guys that know what they're doing out there. OU is bad and they're young, and I think that's just a recipe for us to win. I'll take the experience. I'll take the experience over whatever OU's talent-wise is on their offense, just because we've been there before. And I just think that when two teams are bad, I'll take the more experienced team. So 45-38, I think we come out on top. I was down on us, but you got to put in perspective it's OU. Like, it's just different. So 45-38.
All right. Well, one of us, I think, rightfully should pick the other team since this is such a rivalry game and every year you never know how it's going to turn out. I'm picking OU 38-31, even though I hope this doesn't happen, but I do think it's definitely possible. Y'all were saying that, hey, this is a game that Tom Herman gets up for. Yes, but at the same time, when has Texas played in a game that they need to win where they won? Because this is a must-win game for both Texas and Oklahoma. Maybe more so us. When have we won a game where it's like, hey, we need to win this game?
Oh, man.
I don't think we ever have.
And if we have, it's happened like once, and it's not happened more often than not.
I mean,
you're right.
Nebraska, 09. That was it.
Well, I mean under Tom Herman, but
yeah, so none.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
No, you're right. You're right.
So even though I'm sure this team will get up for this game, they always do. I mean, at least in recent history, they always have. They're going to play hard, but I do think that Oklahoma, with the potential to lose 3 in a row, they're going to come out kind of like, a half-injured dog in a dog fight. That even though they're hurt, they're going to play really damn hard because they don't want to lose 3 in a row, especially to Texas. And they need to win this game or they probably won't make it to the Big 12 championship. There's definitely a chance because this conference is trash this year. So I could definitely see a world where a 3-loss team somehow squeaks in, especially if it's OU and they play up to their potential after this game. But yeah, I want to pick Texas. I do think Texas definitely has the edge on the experience, which they do. I mean, that's a fact. But Oklahoma definitely has the talent to be able to win this game. I trust Lincoln Riley than I do Tom Herman. I'm sorry, I do.
Fair enough.
Me too.
I just do. And coming off of 2 losses, we've never seen OU. I mean, not in the least recent memory, we haven't seen OU come off of that many losses. They care about this game just as much as we do. It's going to be a battle. is going to be close. I have them winning 38-31.
It's a fair assessment.
Hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I hope
But-
so. Hope you're dead wrong, man.
Definitely a possibility.
Yeah, if
And
we
then-
lose to OU, it'll get ugly on the message board. and everything. So.
Yeah, we'll have some interesting discussion
Yeah.
after at that point. If
For now, I'm
things couldn't
confident.
get any lower.
Yeah. Alrighty, y'all. Well, that's gonna wrap it up, I think. Thanks if y'all are watching right now. Y'all are awesome for sticking it out. But just keep watching. We post them every week, and subscribe if you can. That'd be great. Show it, send it to your friends, all that good stuff. So appreciate y'all. Let's go beat OU and hook them,
sir.
baby. Let's get it.
OU sucks.
Sorry.